We've had some of the biggest names in NFL reporting this year, top names, top of the drawer, and this is the top drawer.
Michael Silver on the phone, waiting to talk to us from NFL.com. He is their premier NFL columnist. Michael, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks. There are a lot of people in Boston who would like to me in the top drawer right now.
What is it about columnists in Boston? I mean, Boston would probably like to wipe out every non-New England columnist in the world. Is that correct? What?
I don't know. All I know is, I just tell the truth and say what I think.
Sure, that's what we do.
I think they at least tried to cheat and probably did.
Don't we wish sometimes, Mike, that the Revolutionary War had started in like North Carolina or something? Then
they would feel entitled.
Well, then yeah, I mean they feel like okay, we were the first ones, and now
now we're pulling out our musket again. Hey, Mike, you wrote a titillating column about Peyton Manning and the Broncos offense after the game on Sunday. You were here at Sports Authority Field, and you gave both sides. You had a number of Broncos saying, hey, don't worry about it. Peyton's going to be better. Peyton's going to be Peyton. And then you quoted one veteran NFL coach who said, he looks like an old boxer. In your eyes, after all the football you've watched, which is it, or is it something in between?
Yeah, I mean, I'm rooting for him to be Peyton Manning, first of all. It's been such a joy to watch him have such command over the years. I thought it very well could be over when he had the neck stuff and the 4 surgeries, and it was so great to see him, very quickly assimilate in Denver and then just become dominant again. So I know it looked a little shaky late last season. I kind of hoped, okay, well, he was hurt and he'll come out and be the Peyton of old. But, this is a guy who does not love change. And though he stayed in Denver, obviously has to adapt at least somewhat to a new offense. And, most guys at 39 aren't able physically to be what they were at 32 or 28. So, I think the evidence looks like he's not what he was. But on the other hand, there were moments, even in Sunday's game, where I thought, you know what, that's, he threw a slant to Emmanuel Sanders in a tight window with a lot of velocity in the first quarter. I saw that, and I said, maybe it's just an adjustment. And really, Sanders could have caught a touchdown pass, too. I thought he probably should have. So, jury's still out. I'm hoping that sometime in the next few weeks it becomes obvious that he can still do it.
Everybody's reactionary, Mike, and we know that that's typical in sports, particularly now with social media. But I propose that, and you were there, that Demaryius Thomas, we can talk about Peyton Manning all day long. Demaryius Thomas doesn't look like a $70 million player. And I know he was celebrating after he got the contract. Emmanuel had not played the entire exhibition season. As you pointed out, Peyton overthrew him once, but the other time he kind of pulled up. That was his fault. Owen Daniels didn't give him anything. And I put this on the offensive line and the wide receivers and the tight ends as much as I put it on Peyton Manning. Do you agree or disagree?
Well, Baltimore's good, and they definitely need to be able to run it better. That's the linchpin of the Kubiak attack. And, C.J. Anderson showed a lot last year. Hillman actually looked good at times on Sunday. So, in theory, if they're running it better, it opens it up. I think Demaryius, maybe he's a little hurt, and maybe he's not right, but I think he's an absolute stud. I mean, to me, I'd take him right up there with Julio and A.J. Green or Dez or anyone you want as your big, strong, fast number one. Come on, he won a playoff game with Tim Tebow at quarterback by the strength of his, ability to take a slant and go. So I think that'll be fine. And Sanders is a really, really good player, and Norwood showed a little something. So I think as long as they can run the ball, it'll all be fine.
The motivation for this question is obvious. The Broncos play the Chiefs on Thursday night. The Broncos have won the AFC West, 5 times in a row? Has the gap closed, or are the Broncos still the king of the block out this way?
Yeah, I mean, it all ties into the first thing we talked about, which is Peyton. And if we're not sure that Peyton's Peyton, then by definition the gap's closed. And if the Chiefs look as good as, continue to look as good as they did on Sunday, going in and beating, I think, a really good Texans team and doing it with a lot of physically imposing plays, then, yeah, I do think the gap is closed. I mean, I think San Diego is going to be able to score and is intriguing. I have yet to be convinced that the Raiders are in any way turning things around, and I would have said that before Sunday's game. They want to stuff me in a drawer in Oakland too, by the way. But yeah, I think this is a big game, and I would favor the Chiefs in this game based on what I saw Sunday, and I worry that in that atmosphere, with the way the running game looked for the Broncos, the way Peyton looked Sunday, that I worry that it could be pretty ugly on Thursday.
He's Mike Silver. He's a columnist for NFL.com, and all of our live guests are brought to you by Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. Mike, at the end of your conversation with Peyton in the locker room, where you had him one-on-one, you asked him about renegotiating his deal with Denver this offseason, and you say he glared at you. Why did he glare at you? Is it because he didn't like the question, he didn't want to answer the question, or maybe he was in a mood to reconsider what he had done in the offseason?
3 words. He likes money. No, I'm kidding. I think what he conveyed to me was, after a game like this, that is not the type of question that I want to deal with. And, he was frustrated. Make no mistake. He was happy that they won. And, if I asked that question after a loss, it would have been a lot worse, in fairness, as you guys know. But, I think what he meant to say was, look, it's been one game. I'm not happy with the way it looked right away. The last thing I want to do right now is go big picture and think about whether I should have come back or whether what I asked and what I literally asked was it an easy decision or was it a difficult decision? So, he definitely didn't want to be introspective, but I see he's got his interview game back on because what I saw yesterday with the injury report was phenomenal. I'm just kind of thrilled that I wasn't on it, but it sounds like you guys have ailments that you're going to have to.
No.
Woody's very popular.
Hello. He said I was the healthiest guy in the
Yeah.
media, Mike. So
true. He called you healthy on it.
Yeah. He obviously isn't a doctor.
That's first.
Yeah, sure, boy. But I think I'd hate to say what he thinks of all the other media in real terms if he thinks I'm healthy. Mike, let's do go big picture. Let's step away. Of the weekend's actions, what team impressed you the most that maybe you weren't certain about, and which team shocked you that wasn't as good as you thought they might be? And we're talking about 1 week, but what jumped out at you over the weekend?
Great questions. I'm high on both the Rams and Bills, so I'm not surprised that they won, but the way the Bills won was really impressive to me because I would say Indy was the team that disappointed me most off the first week. But, I've been thinking, okay, the Bills are ready to break through for the last couple of years. It's going to happen. They're going to break that playoff streak. But they just swallowed the Colts up. And if they do it to the Patriots this Sunday, which I think is a possibility, we're not just talking about, this is a playoff contender. They're going to be a legitimate contender in the AFC. Not surprised by Philly. I have not been as high on them as seemingly the rest of the world. I just don't get it. It's nice to have a system that you think you can plug guys into, but there aren't that many LaShawn McCoys on the planet. And when you start thinking that I could just get rid of my playmakers and bring in some other guys and I'll just run my stuff, I'm not. I don't usually like that on the NFL level. So, the Colts and Seahawks both were not overly impressive in their opener. Seahawks, in fairness, played a really good team. I don't think people realize how good the Rams are. But, Indy, I'm a little concerned given how high I am on them.
Boy, I agree with you so much on Philadelphia. I was pulling for Chip Kelly to be able to pull this off when he came to the league. I like new ideas and new concepts.
Yeah, sure.
And he
Yeah, but I don't like guys who think they're smarter than everybody else.
That's okay, except, if you're going to do it, you at least got to have the fundamental aspects of the game down, and they don't have that. Mike, final question from me. I said on the show yesterday that the Broncos had the worst food in the press box. and according to John Fox, you have a direct line to the chef here in Colorado. I wonder if you could speak to the chef about doing a better job for the food. I may be the only person that actually would remind you that like 4 years later.
Well, here's the thing. You can't, we can never reveal sources. If my source were... we're making an analogy about who my source on that one was in the food industry. You would say it was the executive chef. I go high up the food.
So to speak.
Well, yeah, and the reason why Mark and I laugh about it is because Mark was in love with another quarterback who played for that team that was supposedly better than Tebow, and he still hasn't pissed a drop in the NFL. Brady Quinn.
He's doing good on TV.
Adam, what was that guy?
Yeah.
Kid from Minnesota. Yeah, no, I definitely was told by the executive chef of the football world that at the time I was there, they thought that young man, if it were a fair competition, would have been ahead of Tebow. But listen, I'm not the one who threw the ball out, in practice that hit a tree outside.
Why don't you and Mark need to get over that?
I just take the material I'm given.
Hey, Mike.
It's one of the greatest accomplishments in NFL history. The Denver Broncos won the AFC West and a playoff game with Tim Tebow as the quarterback.
And the only reason why I brought it up is
I'm
watching NFL's Greatest Games a couple of nights ago. I Have No Life. And they're talking about that game. And they interviewed everybody from both teams. And I don't know whether you guys saw it. And I knew it was up to date because Fox was wearing a Bears cap. And they're talking to the guys on both sides. And Ike Taylor was going, will you guys get over this? So I'm not letting you get over it, Mike. We really appreciate you joining us. That was great insight, and we hope you'll join us again sometime.
Yeah, Mike, thanks for doing this, and give everybody your Twitter handle. But before you do, I need to warn everybody, if you're going to follow Mike Silver on Twitter, you better be nice, because he doesn't suffer fools gladly. Mike, what's your Twitter handle?
It's not for everyone. My bias doesn't follow me. But if you do decide, it's at Mike Silver. And, thanks for having me. And stay healthy, you guys.
Maybe.
We don't have to worry about Woody. He got a clean bill of health already. Mike, we'll talk to you soon.